Welcome back to the Political Vigilante. I'm Graham Elwood, and you guys are awesome for, first of all, coming here to independent media, coming to YouTube to get your news because you know that the corporate media is bullshit. And by watching this show, liking, subscribe, watching the ads play all the way through at the beginning, you guys are supporting this show immensely. Also, if you go to the Patreon link below and support this show, you get bonus videos a week. You get bonus, you get to pick articles. Like you could get to send me at the $5 level. You get to send me an article to talk about. I've already released a couple of those this week. And if you are at the $5 and up level, please check your inbox. It might be in your spam folder because I've emailed you to send me an article and a link to talk about. And this show, independent media, we're going to talk about this kind of stuff in a way you're probably not going to hear from MSNBC or CNN, and certainly not Fox, which is this story. The South Korea's new progressive president, Moon Jae-in, is open to talks in Pyongyang about nukes. Now, this is the minute this guy won, all right? He said, I'll read his quote, okay? Hours after being declared winner in Tuesday's election, he pledged to work for peace in the Korean Peninsula. So many of you might know this, but for those of you who don't, so it's a very contentious area what they're in. So South Korea, obviously their immediate neighbor is North Korea, which we know can be very crazy. They've got Russia there. They've got China. Where does China stand on North Korea? It's always sort of this weird kind of supporting North Korea, kind of not thing. And you've got Japan there. And Japan, there's a kind of a growing nationalist movement in Japan, which is a little scary. It's happening all over the world. So, and then you've got crazy Trump was like, he's sending our Navy over in that part of the world. He's talking about we got to get tough with North Korea. And then here's this guy. Listen to what a real progressive sounds like. I will quickly move to solve the crisis in national security. I am willing to go anywhere for the peace of the Korean Peninsula if needed. I will fly immediately to Washington. I will go to Beijing. I will go to Tokyo. If the conditions shape up, I will go to Pyongyang, Moon said. He's extending the olive branch. He's saying if the conditions shape up, he's opening the door. And who better to do this than this guy? I don't know this much about this guy, but if that's what he's saying, I want peace, something we should all pay attention to. And what a novel concept. To go to somebody that's a dictator, whose dad was a crazy dictator, in a country that, because of, they didn't go to any type of capitalism the way China did, right? So they've been having a hard time surviving, right? So how do they act? They do crazy stuff and flex their muscles. And I'm not excusing any of the crazy shit that North Korea has done, the capturing people, the torturing the people, like, they just snatch up people off of Japan. Like I was in Japan and they're like, oh, these two people were just abducted. It's crazy. But they're probably also acting out of crazy fear. They're a small little country. And, they're surrounded by Russia and China. And then we send our Navy in there. Imagine if Florida was its own country. Okay? And let's say the president of Florida was a wingnut, and a little crazy, and the rest of, America was still America, and then some giant big Navy came floating through there. I mean, look at that. What if a foreign Navy was just floating around in the Caribbean or off the Keys and this, what would you do? You'd be a little like, shit, I'm scared. And you'd flex your muscles. It's like if I stood outside of it, me and a truckload of guys was just in front of your house and we all had a bunch of guns and a rocket launcher and we're just like, hey man, just making sure you're doing the right thing. You'd be like, fuck. You might want to get a gun and be like, I don't know I don't trust these guys. And how could you trust America? Look at what we've done. When we don't like, if you're a foreign dictator, man, be careful. Like North Korea, they're lucky they don't have oil. They just found oil off the coast of Somalia. So all of a sudden there's terrorists in Somalia. It's scary. And what a novel concept, though, to actually come from like a peaceful resolution, like a Buddhist resolution, or like who Jesus actually was about peace. Muhammad was about peace. So wouldn't that be amazing if he did this? So I'll read a little backstory on this election. So Moon, whose victory capped one of the most turbulent political stretches in the nation's recent history and set up its first liberal rule in a decade, assumed presidential duties early in the morning after the National Election Commission finished counting and declaring him winner of the special election necessitated by the ousting of conservative Park Geun-hye. Many analysts say Moon likely won't pursue drastic rapprochement policies because North Korea's nuclear program has progressed significantly since he was in the Roh government a decade ago. But he's open to it. And no one's ever treated North Korea that way. Has anyone? Maybe they haven't, I don't know. But I don't remember any major power going to North Korea, hey man, let's talk. It's always just sanctions, and if you do this, we're going to come at you. What do you think someone's going to do? What do you think? It's like the police issue in this country. You go through bad neighborhoods and you're just immediately stopping people and frisking them and throwing them against the wall in the car. Okay, maybe they have committed crimes, but they're not going to be welcome to you. They're going to be like, fuck you. Because they've seen you mistreat them. And how great is this that he's coming with an unconventional approach to North Korea? No one's done this. The only other person that's been unconventional is crazy Trump. And Trump wants to get us into World War III. He's out of his fucking mind. So, and Trump, it'll be interesting to see if Moon like tries to broker a peace with North Korea and then Trump threatens him. Like, we're going to pull our bases and you're going to have to pay for your own bases and everything else. Right? That's what Trump will do. Hey, I want peace. I want my own backyard to feel safer. I want peace. Right? No, it's fucking dealing with terrorists. Like, the big muscle thing is so insane. The drone strike thing, imagine that. Like, we just bully everybody and then we act surprised when they're like, fuck you. So I want to read it. Here's another little article that was in Hawaii News Now. That just goes into this a little more, a little background about Moon. Was chief of staff for the last liberal president, the late Roh Moo-hoin, who sought closer ties with North Korea by setting up large-scale aid shipments and working on now-stalled joint economic projects. Winning 41% of the votes, he comfortably edged conservative Hong Joo-yoon and centrist Ai Cheo-soo, who had 24% and 21% respectively. The conservative Hong had pitched himself as a strong man, described the election as a war between ideologies, and questioned Moon's patriotism. Man, they use the same fucking tactics. The war machine in South Korea uses the same tactics. Anyone that wants peace, that doesn't want war, oh, you're not a good patriot. They've been running that game for centuries. We've been doing it in America since World War I. So don't buckle to this. And it's funny once you start paying attention. And because South Korea has long been dependent upon our military since the Korean War, we have bases there and we protect them and give them aid, that they're more willing to do our bidding. I love to see a guy go, nah, I hope this guy Moon doesn't buckle to Trump, because that's the key here, because Trump's going to lean on him hard to go, no, none of this peace talk, war. So I'm going to keep following this Moon guy because it's significant, because if he can broker a peace with North Korea, which helps the whole world, not only that region, not only that part of Asia and that part of the world, but it helps the whole world. We don't need a crazy, scared, like some abused pit bull just ready to strike North Korea who's willing to just do crazy shit and blow up. All right, fine. We're going to just blow up Tokyo because we're fucking nuts. Like, we don't need that. We need peace. We need like, hey, man, we want to help you. You got to calm down a little bit. We all want to come to a reasonable conclusion. Your country can benefit. We won't make you look weak. Like, there's so many ways to do this. There's an old samurai saying, victory comes with the sword still in the scabbard. Meaning, samurais were the ultimate warriors. They knew their blade was a weapon of death, but they also knew that the minute they pulled it, they could get injured, someone else could get injured, and they didn't want to do that. So victory comes with the sword still in the scabbard means, you and I are in a disagreement. How do we come to a reasonable conclusion that neither one of us gets hurt and neither one of us loses our honor or our dignity? What a novel approach versus Trump's like, look at my big fucking rocket dick, suck it, yeah, you're fired. I'm tired of that arrogant, stupid, pig-headed, short-sighted, and dangerous approach that America has taken with its foreign policy. Obama was he was just polite the way he said it, but then he would drone strike the fuck out of everybody. Bush is, shucks, we're just drone striking. Like, I'm tired of that shit. America's not the greatest country in the world anymore. We're not. We're bullies. We're big fucking greedy bullies, and we need to fix our own problems versus sending our Navy all around the world. Why don't we get better schools? Why don't we get drinkable water in Flint? Why don't we, instead of having a pipeline for fucking oil, why don't we have a pipeline for water? I tweeted this several years ago, when California was in the middle of the drought and the northern states got these giant winter, and then in the spring there was all this mass flooding. I'm like, how about a water pipeline? We capture all this water and we spread it around the country. When Georgia had that huge drought, we could have had a pipeline that went from like Michigan down to Georgia, and Georgia's crops and everything would have been fine. We could have a pipeline that goes from Oregon down to California, from Alaska, which is a goddamn rainforest. We could do this, but we need real leaders. Sounds like this guy in South Korea is. A progressive leader. Vote for the progressives. Don't buckle to the war machine. Don't buckle to the fucking two-faced corporate Democrats. Go for the progressives and support them wherever they are and no matter what they look like. Don't play the identity politics bullshit game. Oh, we needed this, we needed that. I don't care. Vote for the policy, not the identity or the slogan or the platitude. Vote for the voting. Check out their voting record, check out their policies, and vote for the progressive. That's what we have to do. Because we could have a leader talking like this, let's find peace. Because America, of all countries, could sit down and go, I want to talk peace with you. Because I don't even need to say I could blow you up. I could wipe your country off the face of the earth. You know that, I know that, but let's come to a peaceful conclusion because I don't want to be that much of an asshole. Because victory comes with the sword still in the scabbard. Thanks for watching. Support the show. Like and subscribe. You guys are awesome.